Golden State Warriors coach Steve Kerr isn't happy with what he perceives to be a lack of fundamentals in the NBA today. He expressed his displeasure after the Warriors' 126-114 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves on Thursday night in a game where the Warriors were out-rebounded 57-34. Jeez. He said, and I quote, "This is the modern NBA. Guys don't box out. It's just the way it is." He told ESPN, "Every night on League Pass, I see the same thing. Players let guys come in from the weak side. They think, I'll just get the rebound. It's a disease that's rampant in the NBA. And the problem is, if you're a real small team like us, then it's really going to hurt you more, and it will hurt other teams." So Steve Kerr is, he's basically calling out what a lot of fans have been complaining about for a long time, which is, the lack of fundamentals and a lack of attention to really details, lack of boxing out for a lot of teams. So what do you think about these comments from Steve Kerr? Are they fair or foul?
I have mixed reviews on this. First off, because Steve Kerr, I think that's on the coaching staff. If his team doesn't box out, I know he says, "Oh, I see it a lot of times." I don't know if he watches New York Knicks games, but
Okay, dude. Like, come on.
But that's Tibbs.
Tibbs. You and I, okay, that's Tibbs, but you and I both know that in the NBA, boxing out, basically have to, if you're, most players have, a clear path if they wanted to take it to the basket. A lot of them don't because they just want to shoot threes. There is a lack of fundamentals that exists in basketball today.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. So there is a lack of fundamentals. I think a lot of it stems from the AAU circuit, and these kids are taught at a young age, they're only taught, as long as I can dribble between my legs, as long as I can shoot it from the hash mark, as long as I can dunk, that's really all they care about. And it's more about, putting up stats, putting up numbers and everything like that. But they weren't, a lot of kids, if you notice, dude, most dudes don't play defense in the NBA. Most teams. There's a reason why most teams, I'm going to mention this before. Let me just preface this. Outside of the New York Knicks, because when Kerr is making those statements, some of that has to do with his coaching, his coaching schematically. If he doesn't have schematically where, everybody attacks the defensive glass to secure the defensive rebound, then that's on him. Like I told you before, I watched the New York Knicks. I watched for years. The Knicks wouldn't play defense. The Knicks wouldn't box out. Tom Thibodeau, if you don't box out and you don't play defense, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who you are. You're not playing on my team. So I think there is a lack of fundamentals with a lot of guys. I think a lot of guys have to be taught that. I think some dudes have to be taught that, which is really messed up because it's a result of the AAU system and how from a young age the kids are taught about offense. There's offense. And there's a reason why guys like Kawhi were so, you have guys like Kawhi, you have guys like Paul George, they came from smaller schools and they kind of had to grind it out, prove themselves. Like they had to get on the court by playing defense, and then the offense, spoke for itself, So a lot of these guys do lack fundamentals. I think it's a shame too, because it's not going to get any better. And I think with a lot of these rule changes where the NBA, the freedom of movement, where they really want to stress, we want more offense. It was like, you know what? You're doing a disjustice to these kids because, dude, 15, 20 years ago, every dude boxed. The final score was 70-something. Like you had final scores of the NBA Finals were in the 80s and the 70s because there were no second chance opportunities. If you wanted to go to the basket, there was a very good chance, two guys were going to collapse on you. It's just, because the rules don't allow for stuff like that anymore, a lot of these kids are brought up just thinking, I got to be able to shoot it from the hash mark, screw defense, because if some guy comes down and he gets the offensive rebound, he gets 2, but I come down and I get 3, I technically won. So these kids got to get taught.
Yeah, and I think that is like a mindset thing that has changed over time. And the question to me, right, the question that I have in my mind about this is it so much a lack of fundamentals, or is it just changing fundamentals? Or are the fundamentals of the game of basketball different? Like have they changed completely from where they were for almost like 56, 70, 80 years up until the past 10 years we've seen recently?
like I said, dude, it's a change. Steve Kerr, like he's pointing it out, but he's got to instill that in his team. Like I told you before, dude. Anybody who watched the New York Knicks play the last couple of years, we wouldn't defend, we wouldn't box out or nothing like that. It all starts with the coach, and you gotta have a coach who's, the guy's got to buy in, and you got to have a coach that's, gonna hold guys accountable and be like, listen, if you're on my team, you got to box out. If you're with the Miami Heat, if you watch the way the Miami Heat play, they box out. The Knicks box out. Look at a team like the Lakers. All offense. It's all offense. Why are they losing games all of a sudden? Because they're not really, a defensive oriented team. And you see what happens when they don't get the offense. They lose. They struggle, and they lose to teams that they honestly shouldn't lose to because of defense and rebounding and all that stuff. So, on one hand, I do think that a lot of, like, from a young age, these guys really have to get taught that. But on the other hand, dude, it's not like you can't, you can't. It's not like you can't just hold guys accountable and just be like, listen, I box out. Like, if you don't box out, you're not going to play on the floor, because, like I told you, man, I watching the New York Knicks, dude. A team like Memphis, look at these physical teams, these defensive team. Memphis, if you don't box out, all them dudes on Memphis box out. The Knicks with Thibodeau, if you don't box out and you don't defend, you're not going to see the floor. The Miami Heat was another one. Why did they go to the NBA Finals? Yeah, Jimmy Butler balled out, but they got there in the back of their defense. So if you don't defend and you don't box out, it's not so much a fundamentals thing as it is, I think, just a heart thing. And the coaches, like, a lot of these coaches today are so offensive oriented that they forget that defense is a part of the game. And as a result, the game suffers and the players suffer.
That's a fair point. I mean, look, my thing is, like, I would like to see a little bit more of a focus on fundamentals, because I think that makes, like now I think the fundamentals that you talked about just now and that Steve Kerr was talking about, they're kind of an edge in today's game. They give you an edge. They give you, like, such an edge. Like, you were talking about how the Knicks, like, they might not have the explosive offense like a lot of other teams in the NBA, like to an extent of a lot of these teams, but they have solid fundamentals and they put the pieces in place to do that, right? So for them, they've used that to their advantage, and now, like, look at them. They're what, the fifth seed now?
A fourth, a team that was the 28th rated defense in the entire NBA last year. The same exact team, the same dudes, go from the 28th ranked defense to the first in defensive efficiency because of a coaching change. That's just because he got them back to the fundamentals and just said, listen, box out, defend, rebound, and that's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to give ourselves a chance. When you defend and you box out and everything like that, people say good offense beats good defense, but sometimes the good offense isn't always there. Sometimes you shoot it, it feels good out of your hand, and it just doesn't drop. And that's where, you got to corral that rebound. You got to box out. You got to make sure, you got to give yourself the chance on the defensive side to say you're not going to get a second opportunity. We worked hard. We forced the miss. We did all that. You're not going to get a second opportunity because second opportunities have a lot higher chance of going in than their first shot. If you hold teams to one shot per possession, you're going to give yourself a chance to win.
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.